Hey, very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. Hope you had a great day yesterday. It is Fabio here and we are diving into the dollar index, after which we're going to be moving on in towards euro dollar. So the dollar index has moved up higher. It respected that overall low over here. As we can see, this particular low, and we continued up higher as pretty much expected in towards this area of supply. So from this area of supply, we are now going to be looking for a potential bearish reaction in towards the downside. So there are two supply zones which are currently of interest with the overall bearish market structure here on the dollar, with this being your swing high, this being your swing low. Obviously, you've now pulled back in towards, let's say, the golden pocket area, as many of you like to call it, as we can see over here, in between the 618 and the 786 fib. So traditionally, this is an area from where we would like to see the market drop back in towards the downside. However, what we need to see is confirmation that the market is ready to drop. So what I'm going to be looking for is some bearish market shift on the lower time frame to identify that we are then ready to start moving further downwards. So this is supply zone number one. This is supply zone number two. What I'm now going to be looking for is on the 15-minute time frame, a potential bearish reaction to, let's say, supply, which is positioned over here. And what we'll be looking for is to see, okay, can the 15-minute now shift bearish? So for example, start breaking these lows, pushing towards the downside pullback, and then see a continuation in towards the downside. That for me will confirm that we are ready to move down lower on the dollar index, and it can happen from either supply zone number one or supply zone number two. If you do not see that bearish reaction, just keep on waiting. The ultimate bearish confirmation will come once we start breaking fractal structure on the 4-hour. So for example, this low overall here. Now, moving on in towards euro dollar, our most favorite pair, we have been moving further in towards the downside. So what happened yesterday is that we pushed up slightly higher in towards this entire bar for the sell, which is your entire supply zone. And from there, we started to move further in towards the downside. So what we discussed yesterday is, okay, initial reaction over here, no real bullish follow through. Hence why we now expect potentially that the market was ready just to dump down lower. So as we can see, we moved back in towards that buy for the sell, tapped in and moved back down. So what I'm going to be looking for today is obviously some further downside. We still have some liquidity resting below these lows. So now I am targeting this area of demand over here. That is my main target for the rest of this week. Obviously, there is still some demand. Let me just point it out over here. But we would need to see some reaction now from the dollar index. So what I'll be waiting for is to see, okay, are we going to see any reaction inside of here? If we break this demand zone, I am very confident that we will move in towards demand zone number one. If we start seeing a bullish reaction from this area of demand, and with a bullish reaction, I mean a break of 4-hour fractal structure, that is currently the high of this bullish candle over here, then what I'll be looking for is a potential long back up higher. And in towards these imbalances over here at the top. So that is what I'm going to be looking for, guys, on euro dollar. So moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, what have we been seeing there? So I still have the drawings in from yesterday. As we can see, we respected that area of supply. Hence, we've now pushed down lower. So we pushed down further in towards this area of demand. Now, refining it, obviously, I'm going to be looking at this area of sell before this big buy. From there, I do expect some form of a reaction back in towards the highs after this quite, let's say, extensive bearish push in towards downside of around 117 pips. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Yeah, retracement back in towards the highs. For that, what do we need? Again, 15-minute is what my preference holds. So I'm going to be looking at the 15-minute time frame and seeing what we can spot from there. So just to point out, let me just quickly see. What I'll be looking for is just, okay, can we start shifting once we tap in towards this area of 4-hour demand? Then what you'll be wanting to see is something like this, boom, boom, boom. So market shift from bearish to bullish, look for demand, and then look for those longs. So that's what I'm looking for on Aussie dollar. Very clear and straightforward. Some potential longs from this area of demand. Now moving on in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar at the moment is just continuing its journey down lower. Also respecting the overall order flow, as we can see, fractal low break, push back up, push back down. So continuation in towards the downside so far. And I don't see us stopping until we start seeing some bullish intentions through a break in the overall fractal structure. So what I would like to see, if we want to see any potential bullish reaction, is a break of this fractal high over here. So this is the high overall that broke this low. If we can break that high, then we have some potential to move back up higher, for example, in towards this supply zone over here. But as of now, just looking for that further downside continuation. like for myself, I don't really see very clear areas of demand inside of this leg up. Maybe you do, but I personally do not. Nothing that really, let's say, appetizes me, or whatever you want to call it, makes me hungry, because you can see every single time we already reacted to that overall sell before the buy, and we've already tapped into it. Over here we tapped into it, over here we tapped into it, so there's nothing really fresh that really makes me, let's say, hungry to get in a potential long here on pound dollar. Obviously, like 4 hours bullish, I'm not going to deny that. We broke the overall 4-hour swing high over here in towards the highs, so ultimately you are bullish from this low in towards its high, but that doesn't mean that we can just continue down lower. I mean, there's so much liquidity resting below these lows over here every single time, and there's no real clear areas of demand left. So that's why I am looking to see and to wait until we really get some market structure shift before taking any longs, and until then I'll just be continuing to short this. Obviously I'll be also looking at the dollar index to see what that does. If it reacts to that supply zone, then maybe we can already start looking for those longs, but obviously we'll go hand in hand with a break in fractal structure over here. Now going onwards in towards NZDUSD. NZDUSD has been tanking, guys. Wow. Yesterday I was or I did mention a potential long over here from this area of demand, but again guys, if you do not see any confirmation for those longs in the form of a shift in market structure, then we do not take that long. Okay, it's as easy as that. So no confirmation at all for any potential long, so hence we just continue down in towards the downside. Now what I do expect is a potential pullback back up in towards the highs. There are two ways. Either we just start reversing from this area of demand. Despite that we've spiked through it, we could already start seeing a pullback. Doesn't really matter, but at the same time there's also liquidity resting underneath this low. So maybe we just grab that liquidity and then, for example, start reversing in towards the highs. And at the moment this is kind of like your consolidation area. This high is open and this low is open. So what could happen is that we just grab the liquidity underneath the low and then start reversing back up in towards the highs, and then grab the liquidity above that high again. That is like an option, but obviously we'll just we don't really want to say, okay, this is going to happen. We'll just react on what the market provides us with, and at the moment I am looking for potential reaction from this demand zone, or from a reaction from that liquidity low after a heavy bearish move in towards the downside. So that's it for NZDUSD. Do keep in mind though, it is looking more bearish than bullish in my personal opinion here on the daily, so I'm not surprised that we're really moving in towards the downside, but do just keep in mind, again, a lot of trendline liquidity resting below these lows, this one, and this one, and still this high open with this fresh supply zone. Now going on in towards our last pair, which is gold. So gold, what have we done here on the 4-hour? We have continued with the overall order flow. So what I am seeing, however, is that we didn't really respect this fractal high over here. So this is the fractal high which broke this fractal low over here. All right, and even this low over here as well, and this low over here as well. So we've now broken that high. For the rest, it's a little bit unclear to me. Gold, I'm not gonna lie, not really my favorite at the moment. I liked it more when we were moving in towards this supply zone and in towards this supply zone. At the moment, like we're inside of this entire buy before the sell, but at the same time it's not really to my liking, but it is looking bearish still. I mean, on the intraday time frame at least. So I would just continue to look for that further downside with lower highs and lower lows. So yeah, just continue shorting, guys. That is what I would recommend. No financial advice, because on the daily time frame I would like to see a much deeper correction, especially also on the 4-hour time frame in towards lower demand zones. For example, this imbalanced candle over here. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day and speak soon.